Here we go. Finally.
Welcome everybody to the
It has started.
2025 WNBA Finals presented by YouTube TV. We'll begin with remarks from Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, and then we'll turn it over to question and answer. Please have your phones on silent or vibrate. Kathy, if you would, please.
Great. Thank you, Ron. It's great to be here. Good evening, everyone. WNBA Finals ready to tip off Game 1. It's our 29th WNBA Finals. Exciting night here in Las Vegas as the Aces prepare to take on the Phoenix Mercury in the first ever best-of-7 Finals series. The Aces have been on a remarkable run from winning 21 of their last 24 games to pulling off an incredible overtime victory in a decisive Game 5 just earlier this week, and their season definitely has been defined as resilience. On the other side, you have the Mercury, a team that has embodied toughness, togetherness, and belief all year long to get here. So I think WNBA fans everywhere can feel it. This has the makings of a finals to remember. So congratulations to both teams. I want to take a moment to address some important conversations happening across the WNBA, including remarks made earlier this week by Napheesa Collier. First, let me repeat this. You saw it in my statement, but I have the utmost respect for Napheesa and for every single player in our league. They are at the center of everything we do. I was disheartened to hear that some players feel the league and me personally do not care about them or listen to them. And if the players in the W don't feel appreciated and valued by the league, then we have to do better and I have to do better. We know how great these players are on and off the court, how much they mean to our league, our fans, and our communities. If they don't feel that, I will do everything I can to change that. No one should ever doubt how deeply I care about this league, this game, and every single player who makes the WNBA what it is. So we value feedback, we listen to criticism, we remain committed to engaging in the difficult but necessary conversations that ultimately make us all stronger and better. As it relates to officiating and gameplay on the court, we hear the concerns, we take them seriously. Our game is faster, featuring more talent, and the game is more competitive than ever before. And with that evolution, game rules, interpretation, and officiating has to keep pace. Every major sport goes through this. Rules evolve, officiating adapts, standards shift. Alongside the growth of the game, the WNBA is no different. At the conclusion of the season, as we do every year, the league's competition committee will meet to evaluate the state of the game, which includes game rules, officiating, and player safety on the court. The Players Association and players, as always, are invited to engage. Also, beyond that, we are establishing a multi-stakeholder task force, call it like a state of the game committee, inviting player voices and other stakeholders to that table to ensure that our officiated platform evolves in step with the growth of the league. We'll have more details on that in the coming weeks. And referees and their work serve the game. That service at the highest level requires alignment with its stakeholders to perform and be held accountable to that performance based on that alignment. I think it's pretty clear that we're misaligned currently on what our stakeholders want from officiating. We have heard loud and clear that we have not lived up to that needed alignment, and that attention and change is needed to serve the WNBA to the level of excellence that is not currently being met in the various stakeholders' eyes. There are no greater stakeholders than our players. Their voice is integral to the alignment that is required for good officiating, and we look forward to including their perspectives on how our staff can better serve the game moving forward. So through the competition committee and the state of the game committee I've mentioned, we will take a hard look at what the proper line should be for good, aggressive play that we recognize has evolved into rough play, and how to calibrate the line for legal and illegal contact to ensure player safety and exciting competition. We owe it to the players, our fans, and the next generation to keep building a movement that not only showcases the best athletes in the world, but also inspires millions who dream of following in their footsteps. That's the mission, that's the heart of the WNBA, and that's what unites us all, players, coaches, fans, and partners in pushing this game forward. We all love this game immensely. Together, we've made incredible progress. We've eclipsed previous records, we've expanded our footprint, and we've bolstered the position of our league. And since I know you will ask me about the CBA, I want to briefly cover this. We continue to meet and have important conversations with the Players Association. I want to reiterate that we want much of the same things that the players want. We want to significantly, and I mean significantly, increase their salary and benefits, while also supporting the long-term growth and viability of the WNBA. We have made proposals to that end. We have been meeting regularly throughout the summer and playoffs, and we will continue to negotiate in good faith until we get a transformative deal done. So in closing, these finals mark the end of what has been a landmark season for the WNBA, a season defined not just by the remarkable play on the court, but by the passion, the investment, and the belief in what this league can become. There is still much work to do, and we welcome that work, because the WNBA has always been about building something bigger than the game itself. And we know the best way forward is together. And one last item, a big shout out to my team. I am so blessed to be working with so many amazing colleagues at the league office. When I came in, we had very few people working in the W. Now we have hundreds working tirelessly on behalf of the league and the players, and thousands if you include the teams. I have so much gratitude in times like this for how great our team is and how hard they work. They are the best in women's sports, for sure, and they have shined over the last couple of years with their broad capabilities, innovative thinking, stellar execution, and endless passion for doing their best for the players in this game. With that, I'm happy to take your questions.
Well, task force,
Cathy, if you
something.
would, third row
Something.
to your left.
See these questions.
Hey, Cathy, Doug Farmer, the Associated Press. There's a lot to unpack in that statement you just
Yeah,
said there. So
lot to
I'll try
unpack.
to give something quickly here. Two-parter. One is CBA deadline is the 31st of October. Are you expecting to be done by then, or maybe have an extension? The second part is the Connecticut Sun sale. You didn't address it all in your thing. Where does that stand potentially of having that team either stay in Connecticut or go somewhere else?
Thank you for the
So
question.
on the October 31st deadline, we're working really hard. I have a couple meetings just next week. We had one this week.
Okay.
Working really hard to exchange proposals and get make some progress.
Non-answer.
And you know, while I hope we make the October 31st deadline, and that is a real deadline from that perspective, we have extended deadlines in the past. I know last time when I was only a couple days on the job, we got to an extension and got a deal done. That was progressive at the time. So again, I feel confident that we can get a deal done, but if not, I think we could do an extension. And
It's gonna be an extension,
you
y'all.
know, I don't think, you know, hopefully that the Players Association, and we will continue to work hard between now and the end of the month. On Connecticut, the tribe continues to evaluate its strategic options as it relates to what they want to do as far as continuing as majority owners, selling minority investments, selling the entire team. So they're.
I thought the
we
tribe
receive
wanted to
periodic
stay-
updates from
wanted
them,
the team to stay in Connecticut.
There's no decision been made yet from their perspective on how they're strategically looking at their next steps.
Cathy, next question.
like WN was blocking
Standing
them.
to your right.
Hi, Cathy. Malika Andrews, ESPN. I just wanted to get some clarity on some of the specifics that Napheesa Collier said about
Thank
the
you.
conversation that you had that was previously private. Did you in fact say that, quote, players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the rights deal that I got them?
There's a lot of inaccuracy out there through social media and all this reporting. And so I think what's most
Answer the
helpful
question.
is to focus on,
Nah.
I have been in touch with Napheesa, we've exchanged texts, we're talking next week.
Answer the question.
So I think, obviously, a lot of reporting, a lot of inaccuracy about what I said or what I didn't say. And I will tell you,
Answer the
I
question.
highly respect the players. There's a lot of emotion and passion going on right now because we're in collective bargaining, we're in the WNBA finals. And so I'll leave it there. I mean, I'm just.
Answer the question.
You know, I'm a human too. I have a family. I have 2 kids who are devastated by these comments. And so all I'll say is just, you know, it's obviously been a tough week. And I just think there's a lot of
Answer the question.
inaccuracy out there.
She didn't answer the question.
Piece of it. I did want to follow up though and ask, I think that the growing sentiment around the league, right, is that players, they feel
Cathy
that
does
the
seem
right
emotional,
leadership
though.
isn't in place right now in the league office. So do you feel that you're still the right voice and expect to continue to be commissioner beyond this CBA? Thank
Yeah,
you.
I certainly, that's another inaccurate statement out there that everybody reads and takes clickbait on. Obviously, I've never been a quitter. I'm entering my 40th year, actually this month, in business. never been a quitter, never shied away from tough situations. I think leadership, the cream always rises to the top, and I've always been someone who believes in the fact that if there's things we need to fix, we're going to fix them. If there are things the players have a perspective on that they don't like that we're doing or I'm doing, we'll fix them, Malika. So I think there's a point in time when obviously there's a lot of, and I said emotion, passion, whatever you want to call it, about what's going on right now. The league has grown enormously over the last 5 years. It's incredible what these players have done day in and day out, and they deserve all the credit. But as I said, my staff and the staff of the teams and the owners in this league have made tons of investments to get to where we are today. And so I'm not going to shy away. I'm the commissioner of this league. The leader
You
of
are
this
shying
league.
away.
We've accomplished a lot, but we have a lot more hard work to do. There's so many more things we can do together, and I hope that the players see that. And I'm certainly, looking forward to meeting with them in the off season as we get to the next level, especially with so many great things that are going to happen in the off season into next season.
Kathy, our next question will come from the
Great
front row to
questions,
your right.
Malika. Great questions.
Hey, Kathy, Kareem Copeland, Washington Post. Kind of still going on that same plane. You talked about you'll do anything you can to try to repair this relationship. What steps will you take to try to repair the relationship with the players? Because obviously that's got to be something that you guys have to be partners in this whole thing.
Yeah, I think it starts with Napheesa and I will sit down and chat. I've also communicated with a lot of other players this week who have been great. Obviously, we've got the finals going on here. We've got some announcements about, some end of season awards coming up as well. So I've been talking to players who are on those lists, and the players have been great overall, I think. So I feel, confident that we can repair any loss of trust. I think, again, as we sit here in heavy bargaining discussions, I think, again, we want everything that the players want from the perspective of significant increases in salaries and benefits. And I hope all the players will engage and know what proposals we put on the table. And I think now's the time to do that as we get up to, the end of the season and then into the end of this calendar year. So yeah, we'll dialogue with players. I mean, one-on-one relationships, groups of relationships. Players have reached out to me, obviously.
Deflect.
The basketball ecosystem about all the momentum we have and how important it is to continue that momentum. And I think together we need to move forward. So appreciate the question, Kareem.
Kathy, the next question will come to your right in the third row. If you would raise your hand when you're called on, please.
Hi, Kathy. Jackie Powell with the 9 Basketball. A trend we've seen this season has been the increase in injuries. According to the 9 Basketball's database of injuries were up 36% this year. And even in the WNBA's own numbers that were shared with Bloomberg, they say they were up 29%. So amid change to officiating and what could come of that, I guess, what is the league prepared to do to address this increase in injuries going forward?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. Obviously, injuries are the worst part of sports in my view, especially injuries that occur, due to the physicality. I think our game is bigger, faster, stronger, certainly even in the last 5 years since I've come in to the league. I think the training, the development, the strength and conditioning, the nutrition, everything that's going into the level of the players that a lot of our fans like is also adding to that physicality. And that's why I said in my prepared remarks, we have to determine where the players want that line to be, because I think they want some of that, but obviously we don't want injuries. And fortunately, you see it in other sports too, that injuries are part of that. And we have to do everything, use of technology too, and wearables and other things that can help determine research around injuries and when they're happening, and some of these non-contact injuries as well, more evaluation and research as it relates to that. So yes, we'll be studying a lot of that as we go into using our experts and our physicians, our sports medicine doctors, things like that, to determine what's the best path forward. But I think ultimately it's going to come back to working with the players as to what that line is that we talked about on the physicality of the game. Because while some of the injuries were non-contact, some of them are through the physicality of the game. So I think that's something we're obviously going to study, look at the data, and see everything we can do to help with the player safety aspect of that.
Cathy, next question to your left in the second row.
Semi-answer.
I've been picking with the Athletic. Two questions. One point of clarification, is the meeting with Fee in person or is it a virtual meeting?
We haven't determined yet. We just said, let me get through the beginning of the finals and we'll talk next week.
Got it. And what role is Adam Silver playing in the CBA negotiation?
Great question.
Again, Adam has been a great supporter of mine through, he was the one who had the idea to have a commissioner, reporting to the Board of Governors, the owners. And so, Adam's, of course, I give him updates periodically, but he's not in the bargaining room. It's me and my team and our negotiators and our lawyers and their lawyers and their staff at the PA, and then sometimes players, sometimes not in the meetings. So, but I give Adam periodic updates, and he's been very supportive of how we're thinking about, the substantial increase in player salaries and benefits. And by the way, there's 30 other things as part of the CBA, but I realize the number one thing the players are focused on, which is why I have been listening, is increases in salaries and benefits.
Cathy, next question, third row center.
Hi, Cathy. Christina Williams here, iHeartMedia. I was just wondering, do you have any updates with the expansion drafts for the two new teams?
Another great question.
Yeah, so obviously we need to get a collective bargaining agreement done before we will probably have those expansion drafts, as well as the draft lottery. So those are the two things we usually do before the calendar year end, leading into the free agency and ultimately the draft in the spring. So we have given our general manager some guidance on how we're thinking, but until we get the collective bargaining agreement done, it won't be finalized as to the format or process. But you can expect, because you saw what we did last year, something similar.
Okay.
Just
So
to note,
December.
I do see a lot of hands raised, and we will do our best to get to as many as you can. Please be patient with us. Cathy, next question, second row, all the way to your right.
Holly Rowe, ESPN. You talked about evaluating officiating at the end of the season. We have 7 games in front of us. What, if any, conversation have you
Another
had with
great
the
question.
supervisor of officials and the officials who will officiate these games for what we should expect in the next 7 potential games?
Yeah, we've had a lot of conversations over towards the end of the regular season, into the first and second rounds of the playoffs already, the semifinals, with our officiating staff, the leadership, to talk through exactly the evaluation, the accountability, again, I think there's...
So nothing new.
Everybody has their opinion on officiating in every sport. I know I have 5 brothers. They have lots of opinions on officiating in every sport that I've been hearing since I was a little girl. But yeah, it's certainly something we're talking about. Obviously, the officials are evaluated I didn't know this till I came into sports, every non-call and call is evaluated for every game during the season. This isn't something like we blow off. They're
So
evaluating every call.
Why are the
and
refs so
non-call.
bad if they're being
So think about
evaluated?
that. That's every play in every game. Film is reviewed. There's training. There's
Someone has to
officiating,
follow up.
there's, points of emphasis, obviously. So we continue to have those discussions with officiating crews even here into the finals.
We need a follow-up
Cathy,
question on
next
that.
question, second row to your right.
Cathy, when it comes to CBA negotiations, what would you say specifically are the things that the players are asking for right now? We've heard, like you just said, that their priorities are salary structure, rev share, that the owners feel like you're not saying eye to eye on, or they can't, I guess, right now say yes to.
Yeah, I think it's all about balancing the significant increase in salaries and benefits with the long-term viability of the league. We've made proposals with significant rev share components already in the money, rev share components, as I reported. I guess it was at All-Star. They're obviously bargaining for more. And so we're just trying to obviously balance looking out many years, because the CBAs are typically several years long, whether it's 8 years, 6 years, whatever you want to call it. So looking out to make sure that, and I think the players want this too, that the next generation of players that come after them have a viable league to play in. So that's what we're just kind of going back and forth, determining where that right balance is. And so I think we all agree we're trying to return every dollar we possibly can to the players, but we also want to incentivize investment from owners. We want owners to have a viable business, and obviously we're looking at expansion up to 18 teams by the end of the decade. So that's important that those owners coming in have a shot at a viable economic model for the future. And so that's the balance. The balance is between, I would return every single dollar we possibly can, and we will. but balancing that with making sure our owners are incentivized to continuing investment. You saw what LA announced on their practice facility. Obviously, we have lots of other player experience investments going on by many of our owners. We want to continue to have that incentivized because that actually has helped player health and safety, including the charter program, et cetera. So it's memorializing that too, and making sure that we're providing the best environment for players and that our owners are continue to invest.
Cathy, next row, second row. I'm sorry, next question, second row center.
Hi, Cathy. Annie Costable, Front Office Sports. You've
Annie,
continued
what's your
to
question?
express that you were disheartened by the characterization of your conversation with Napheesa Collier. Just again, seeking clarity. Did you in fact say that Caitlin Clark should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything? And do you actually feel that way, that without this platform, players like Caitlin Clark wouldn't be making what they do off the court?
Yeah, obviously.
Great question,
I did not
Kat.
make those comments. Caitlin has been a transformational player in this league. She's been a great representative of the game. She's brought in tens of millions of new fans to the game. Proud of what she's put on the court. Unfortunately,
So she said she didn't say it.
injuries held her back from a full season this year. But again, I'm not going to get into every point, counterpoint. It's not productive here. We're here to celebrate the WNBA Finals. I think what Indiana just did was amazing with all the injuries they had and the everything they faced this year, bringing that to a Game 5 in overtime. But yeah, as I said, there's a lot of inaccuracies reported out there, and I certainly did not say that.
We got an answer.
This will
Thank
be
you,
our final
Annie.
Question, Cathy, front row center.
We got an answer.
Hey Cathy, this is Megan Hall with USA Today. Obviously, if a CBA doesn't get done, there's a potential lockout that could happen. So how does the W plan to manage, I guess you could say, continue to manage the growth the league has experienced from a marketing standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint, while potentially handling a lockout?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. Whether it's lockout, strike, there's deadlines, there's extensions that could be done. All I'll say is it's a very good question because you want to make sure you're capitalizing on all this momentum that we've built up over the last 5 years or so, and that are really driving viewership into our game and fandom. And I mean, I'm just, we did this Line 'em Up initiative this year where we painted the WNBA three-point line on inner city courts around the country. And I mean, to see the young girls now be able to see like role models like the WNBA players and to attract them to the game and to let them stay in sports. I mean, this is all the important stuff of why we need to get this transformational CBA done as soon as we can, because that's where you see the potential for the future of this game. So yeah, it's a balancing act. Again, I feel confident we are going to get a deal done. But obviously we have a ways to go and we'll work as hard as we can around the clock. I mean, Terry Jackson and I have talked about, working as hard as we can like we did last time. We did extend it a few months last time to get it done by January. So we've been here before. We've have a lot of experience in these negotiations, even well before I got here, but now, this one. So again, yes, it's a balance and we want to make sure there's no interruption. But obviously that'll be up to the players and our owners, but, I think we're on a path to get, again, what I think will be a very good deal and fair deal for all done.
Cathy, thank you. To our media, thank you. As a reminder, this will be the room for post-game interviews.
Enjoy the finals, everyone.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We got some answers. Somewhat. I gotta say this though. Huge shout out to every single press person, media person that was in the room. Y'all did y'all thing with these questions. I guarantee you these media people were probably like, okay, well, we don't know who's gonna get called on, so make sure we, someone asks all these questions. I'm pretty sure there had to have been some sort of coordination of like, I mean, I don't know for sure, but that's my assumption. Because the questions were on point. From Malika Andrews, basically being like point blank, like let us know, and to Cathy initially dodging it and saying, hey, she's disheartened, and that things have been misconstrued, clickbait, yada, 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 yada. And then questions. Then Annie asked again, okay, well, did you say this? And finally, we heard Cathy Engelbert, dance around it, but then basically say, no, she didn't say that about Caitlin Clark. So according to Cathy Engelbert, she didn't say that about Caitlin Clark. The thing about basically that she makes like Caitlin is making $16 million basically thanks to the WNBA. Right? And if it wasn't for the WNBA, she wouldn't be making that $16 million. We got an answer. Thank you so much, Annie, for coming back to it and seeing if we got an answer. Now, I don't know who's telling the truth, who's lying. I don't know. Y'all make up your own minds. Y'all make up your own minds. I'm just giving y'all the information, and y'all can decide whether or not y'all are Team Fee, whether y'all are Team Cathy. But one thing is for sure, you could tell that Cathy Engelbert was very uncomfortable. She was extremely uncomfortable, guys. Extremely. And at one point, I actually thought she seemed pretty downright emotional. I'm sure this week has been a lot for Cathy Engelbert. I'm sure it has. I'm sure it has been. But yeah, man, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But thank you so much to Stern for the super chat. Says watching a tap dance here. Oh no. Thank you so much to Aubrey for the super chat as well. Says she should be a professional tap dancer. I guess that was the talk of the chat today. Whoa, thank you so much to Con Lanning for the super chat. Really do appreciate your support so much. Thank you. And Ghost, thank you so much for the super chat. Ghost is letting y'all know where he stands. Team Fee. He said I'm with Fee. All right, who y'all with? Let me know in the chat. Who are y'all with? This has just been a lot. Like, this has been a lot. Candy says, I bet Fee did record her. I don't know. Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't. Isn't Florida a one-party consent state? Isn't it? Let me double check. Because, she could have if it's a one-party consent state. I'm not sure. I think it is. Meaning you can record people. Nope. Florida is a two-party consent state. So if they did indeed have this conversation, I just looked it up, and according to the Google AI overview, it says no, Florida does not have a one-party consent law for recording conversations. It is a two-party consent state requiring the consent of all parties to an oral, wire, or electronic communication to legally record it. So, according to Google AI, it's a two-party consent state in Florida. Supposedly, it seemed like the conversation that all this came out at was when Cathy and Napheesa met in Florida at Unrivaled. And so if the conversation truly did happen in Unrivaled, Napheesa wouldn't, if she did have a recording, she wouldn't share it because then that'd be illegal. Because it's a two-party consent state. I thought it was a one-party, but looks like it's two-party. According to Google AI. Like when Google now, when you search something, it don't give you like an article. They used to have like an article right at the top. Now it's like an AI overview. And so, yeah, that according to that's what it said. All right, that is what it said. But again, the press conference with Cathy Engelbert is officially over. And I'm curious to hear what you all have to say. Miracle says, thanks so much for the super chat. Miracle says, I stand with Fee. There's no way Fee lied. It's kind of an odd thing to lie about. But we did hear, Cathy talk about misinformation, clickbait, yada, yada, yada. And when she was asked point blank specifically about the Caitlin Clark statement, she said she didn't say that. Specifically about the Caitlin Clark statement. Now, the rest of them, she was basically saying, she's basically saying, her thoughts were misconstrued, clickbait, all that good stuff. But for the Caitlin statement, no, she didn't say that, according to Cathy. Steven, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, how weak is the media that they just don't ask tough follow-up questions? Steven, they asked really good questions. I gotta say that I thought the media asked really good questions, and it's not likely that it's likely that they probably got the mic taken away straight away after after they asked the question. So personally, I thought they asked really good questions. Now, if there was more time, I would have loved more questions to be asked, right? All these media people can do is ask tough questions if Cathy Engelbert wants to sort of tap dance on the answer, that's not their fault. But they did ask good questions. They did. I gotta say. The only other thing I would have wanted to know is is Napheesa Collier getting fined for what she said? And are the players who backed up Napheesa Collier in her statements, are they also getting fined? Like that's another question that I would have loved for someone to ask. But other than that, 10 out of 10 for the media people who was asking questions. Oh, geez. Viva, thank you so much for the super chat. You used blank Cathy, I'm with Fee, it rhymes. Thank you for the super chat, but please, if you all could, if you give a super chat, please don't curse in the super chat. Please, 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 please. Okay? Please don't curse in the super chat. All right? Thank you. But again, thank you for the super chat, but yeah, please don't curse in there. KB, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, easy answers to true questions equals you're lying. Oh, I'm sorry. You said essay. Never mind. Correction. Essay answers to true false questions equals you're lying. Okay. So because Cathy kind of talked around a whole bunch of stuff that that means that she was lying. I get what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, a yes or a no, I said it or I did not say it is pretty easy to say. However, I mean, realistically, Cathy was not going to actually answer the question. Like, come on. Realistically, come on now. Like, it's not super likely to expect her to actually answer it because, yeah. So I wasn't really expecting her to be super forthright at all. I really wasn't. I was expecting just a whole bunch of spin, and that's what we got. We got a whole bunch of spin. But we did get something that, according to Cathy, she did not say the comment about Caitlin. Supposedly. Allegedly. Let's move on. Thank you so much to Stern for the super chat. Says, sad, no questions about the fines. Yes, I would have loved a question about the fines. I would have absolutely loved a question about the fines. About whether or not Napheesa is going to get a fine. The players who basically stood up for her and basically said, yeah, what Napheesa said is true. Are all of those players getting fined? Haven't they all received their last WNBA check? And so how does that work? Right? If I'm understanding this right, they're done with the season, so they would have already gotten their payment and whatnot. And so, like, how does that look like after the season's over for these players finding them? Like I'm very curious. Does it mean that like, oh, you have to pay this fine or you can't play next season? Like, I don't know. I think there's some logistics about the fine situation that I have questions about, especially considering that the season's over for most of the players that are talking. All right, that's something that I am interested in. Let's see. But we also did learn something new today. We also did learn that Cathy Engelbert and the WNBA are going to have a task force that is or sort of a state of the game task force that will include players to evaluate where the game is and where it's headed and all that stuff. And so that's something that's new news that we didn't know before today. That's something, you know. That is something that we did not know going in. We also learned that Adam Silver is not as involved as some people have speculated he is when it comes to the WNBA. Cathy said he is a supporter and that she gives him updates. But he is not in the bargaining room. Right? Also, she said that, hey, they're working on the CBA right now, but they've extended in the past, including during her first negotiation for the CBA. And so, it seems likely to me that it's going to be an extension. And then she said it a couple of times, actually. She kept saying, we want the same thing that the players want, right? But realistically, they don't want the same thing. I mean, sure, the players want more money, and the WNBA is willing to give them more money. But the specifics of how much how that increase is tied to the growth of the game, like that is something that they don't want the same thing, which is why this is continuing to be a thing. But they're going to have a multi-stakeholder task force talk about the officials to make sure that the officials evolve with the game. She talked about the physical play and talked about there being a misalignment with the current situation that the WNBA is in when it comes to officiating. So that's something, right? That's something. But yeah, did we get a lot of real answers? No, we did not. Was I expecting a lot of real answers? Not totally. But I will say one thing that I really didn't appreciate and I really didn't like was her response to this Connecticut Sun thing. Aubrey, thank you so much for the super chat because you're on my wavelength here. Aubrey says, I'm still confused about the Connecticut Sun deal. Yeah, because here's the thing. Cathy was asked about that. I forgot who was it. Doug Feinberg, I think, may have asked about the Connecticut Sun and the status about that. And she basically put the whole thing on the Mohegan Tribe, and that it's all on them. That's what it seemed like. It seemed like she put it all on the Mohegan Tribe of like, oh, well, they got to move it forward, and but isn't the WNBA the hindrance there? Right? She's and don't exact quote me. I'm trying to remember exactly what she said, but it was something to the effect of like, they're still evaluating stuff, and they're still deciding, I guess, whether or not they want to like fully sell the team or whatever they're doing. And I gotta say, I was like, what? Because isn't everybody, including the entire states of Connecticut, blaming the WNBA right now? And saying that the WNBA is trying to take, is trying to take the Connecticut Sun out of Connecticut and send it somewhere else? Even though they have a deal, a possible proposal that can keep the team in Connecticut. And they also have one that can keep the team in, that can move the team not too far in Boston. Isn't that stuff that we've seen a ton of reporting about, and that the WNBA is the issue here? Because they have to sign off on everything? And so when I heard that answer, I was like, come on. Really? You gonna blame the Tribe for all this? You gonna blame them? I don't know. I gotta say, I was like, come on. I was at least expecting a real answer about that. But we couldn't even get a real answer on that. We couldn't even get a real answer on that. Dog. Man. Yeah, so I was very confused about her statement. Very confused. Because I'm like, dog, you guys are the issue. You guys are the issue, man. I don't think this is the Tribe's fault. I don't think this is the Mohegan Tribe's fault at all. They had a proposal in Boston. They had another proposal from, what's his name, Mark Lassery, to bring the team to Hartford, right? And then the entire state of Connecticut are looking into possibly putting their pensions in a possible deal to keep it in Connecticut. And it seems like everybody is blaming the WNBA for the confusion and lack of moving forward, right? And so I'm just so confused about, oh, she's just putting it on the Mohegan Tribe, and it's like, well, okay. okay, WNBA, okay. You really want us to believe that? I don't believe it personally. I don't. Maybe you all might. I don't believe it. Okay, continuing on. Thank you so much, Ghost, for the super chat. Says, since Engelbert became a partner at Deloitte in 1999, dozens of settlements for fraud and other illegal behavior. She can't be trusted as a leader. Ghost, I believe you. I just gotta say though, I think I think if you look at most of these big companies, you're gonna find dozens of settlements for fraud and other illegal behavior at many companies. So I don't know. I think there's a whole bunch of illegal stuff that happens all over the place in business, personally. and so I don't know if she's that much different, or, I don't think she's that much different than basically any other senior leader at any other multi-billion-dollar business. I think they're all kind of the same. that's my opinion there. Thank you so much to Al for the super chat. Says, task force in business equals look like you're handling a problem. It does make it look like you're handling a problem. Yeah, it does. It does. It does look like you're handling a problem. Even if you're not, you're like, let's just do a task force. Let's put it under a task force. It'll be all good. It'll be all good. And really, no, it's not. Just sweep it under the rug, Ghost, thanks so much for the super chat. Says, rich white exec blaming a tribe surprises nobody. Yeah, I really don't think it's the tribe's fault. I really don't. Like, I hope CT Insider can a reporter from CT Insider talk to the Mohegan Tribe and say, hey, Cathy said that basically it's all on y'all. What do y'all have to say? And I want to see a response. I want to see a response by the Mohegan Tribe about what Cathy said about them. Okay. Thank you so much to Aubrey for the super chat. Says the WNBA really wants the Sun to move to Houston. That's what it seems like reporting is saying. However, I'm just waiting on the WNBA to officially say that. If that's what you want, just say it. You know, just tell the truth. Tell the truth. All right, tell the truth. Shamika says 1,000 people on a live stream. Hit the like button. Yes, hit that like button. It really does help the channel out a whole lot. Okay. All right, and also while y'all at it, subscribe to the channel as well. Subscribe. We are on our route to ultimately the goal is 50,000 subscribers, but the more immediate goal is 40,000 subscribers, okay? Let's see. And it's, it just says where we're at. The fact that, and guys, if y'all want to post in the chat, you have to just subscribe. Takes a second, and subscribing is free. All right. If y'all want to, actually let me know, y'all, in the chat if y'all want me to stay live for the actual game, because I'm watching it. So let me know if y'all want me to stay live for the actual game or not, because the game is about to happen. Okay. But yeah. Mama Joe says, okay, I'm behind a little bit, and she just said that every play is reviewed for every game. Where are those reviews? And walk with the results easy. Basically, the question is, if all this stuff is being reviewed, if everything is being reviewed, then why is things the way they are? Like, it seemed like Cathy was kind of like bragging about, and it's all reviewed and blah, blah, blah. And like, we review every game and all the calls and non-calls. And I'm like, okay, well, if that's really what you do, well, how is certain refs still allowed to be refs if you are reviewing everything, right? If you are reviewing everything, how are we at where we're at, right? We're at the point where everyone's pissed and everyone's basically like, WNBA is not doing enough when it comes to officiating. But if you say you're reviewing everything, then who's not doing their job? What are you reviewing then? I'm confused. Right? If you are truly reviewing things, okay, well, where's the fruit of that reviews? Where's the fruit of those reviews? Where is it? Right? I'm just saying, I think it's very confusing. Right? Natasha Cloud just posted on X. She says, there's a reason all players are backing Fee. Ooh. Okay, players are talking. Players are talking right now. All right, this is what Natasha Cloud and Isabel Harrison just posted. Y'all can take a look at that while I get. So it seems like most of y'all are saying to stay live for the actual game, and so sure, we will do that. We will absolutely do that. I just need to change my graphic out, and also I'll probably stop and start the stream again, because I need to just go and get some water and get myself in order. I got to get myself together because I got someplace to go. And I'm praying when I get there, we see a fantastic game. I want to go to game one. 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 Said I want to go. And before y'all be like, oh, you suck. You can't sing. I know I can't. Okay. And okay. I'm just saying, dog. I'm just saying. All right. But yeah, people are talking. All right, y'all. So get ready for the Game 1 WNBA Finals watch along. I'm going to have that start in about, well, it has to start in 2 minutes because the actual final starts in 2 minutes. All right. Let's see. We got another super chat. So let me read this and then I'll hop off. KB says, thanks so much for the super chat. Is talking about, wait, what? I'm confused. Saying someone's ignorant. The Fever have had a championship long before your I don't know. Before Caitlyn was losing back-to-back NCAA finals. I'm confused. If y'all are fighting with each other, please don't use a super chat to air, because I have no idea what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Again, thank you so much, KB, for the super chat, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Okay. All right. Let me hop off. I'll be back in 2 minutes as we and I'll start a new stream as we do live play-by-play of the WNBA finals. Okay? All right.